Hi everyone! I am putting together Stamp Camp cards today, leftover bits and pieces from Stamp Camp, and I thought I would do that on film so you can kind of get an idea of what I do at Stamp Camp, but also so you can see them, because even though my Stamp Camp attendees have already seen these cards, maybe you have not. So they're really fun. I try to do a technique at Stamp Camp, plus a few, I try to do one card that's kind of difficult and then a few that are more simple. And this was one of the difficult ones. I did a lot of the work ahead of time for Stamp Camp so that it wouldn't take too much time, but I gave instructions and all the pieces so people can see how to put it together, and I thought you might like to put it together. It's really fun because it moves. The little balloon on the inside spins, and that is a really fun thing to send in the mail. Now it is thicker because of the mechanism, so you'll have to throw an extra stamp on here or put it in a gift that you're handing someone in person. But it's a great card, and I did it with the balloons because I wanted to use this Best Route paper, and I thought the hot air balloons flying over the city would be perfect with this paper. Designer Series paper is on sale right now in the month of July. If you buy 3 packs of Designer Series paper, you get the 4th pack free. Best Route is one of the selections, and I think it's a really great paper because it's different than most. It doesn't have any flowers on it, for one thing. I have 2 boys, and one just got his driver's license, so I think this is going to be fun on a scrapbook page. Also, the bright colors and shapes are good for teenage cards or boys. There's bicycles, little location markers. Here's some more maps. Little arrows, and I've used up most of my pack, so I wish I could show you. I think there's 2 patterns that I've completely used up, so I don't have any to show you right now. But it's a great pack of paper to add to your collection, and like I said, in July, buy 3 packs of Designer Series paper and get the 4th pack free. There's a holiday pack in there called Under the Mistletoe. There's some, the wood texture. If you haven't seen that one, I don't have it right in my desk right now, but it's a wonderful, you need to grab that. So there's a lot of great paper on sale. So check it out. So this card, I forget what it's called. Pop and Spin, perhaps? Pop and Spin. The tutorial is also on Split Coast Stampers. Split Coast Stampers is a wonderful site for stampers, especially Stampin' Up! Stampers, because they have an entire gallery, alphabetical by stamp name, of every stamp set Stampin' Up! Has ever sold for years. And I'm a member there, and I do some tutorials for them. I have done a couple. They asked me to a couple twice, and maybe they'll ask me to do another one. I loved it. So anyway, this tutorial is on that site. There's a whole list of tutorials. I think there's several hundred tutorials on that site. So like I said, it's called Pop and Twist, I believe. And it's just this really little odd spinning mechanism, which is unusual. So I think a recipient would be like, what? How did you do that? It's kind of interesting. Now you can get pretty elaborate with these. I kept it pretty simple because it is a difficult card to make, but on the inside I kept it really simple. But you can do different little things to cover your mechanism, make it more, use some different string, however you want to do it. It doesn't have to be a balloon. It can make hearts and stars and spinning anything. And you can make this distance bigger if you need to, or smaller, whatever you need to do to make it work for you. So this card has been opened and closed a million times, so it's kind of starting to, my kids are playing with it, starting to need some love again on the little paper at the bottom. I'll have to glue that back on. So here is the basis of this card. This is how I hand things at Stamp Camp. Everything's in your envelope. So I cut out a bunch of clouds and things like that from the it's Up and Away dies that coordinate with the Lift Me Up stamp set. And these dies are awesome. There are hot air balloons with big detail and then just outlines. And the clouds and a heart that I've used so many times. Just really a great die collection. You don't need to even have the stamp set because you can put together these hot air balloons and the clouds on scrapbook pages or cards, but it really looks nice with the hot air balloon stamps. And then the sentiments on this one are great too, because you've got happy birthday, I hope your birthday is on cloud 9, or just a note to lift your spirits, sending smiles across the miles, love is in the air. So here you've got someone who's sick, someone who moved away, love, congratulations, thank you for lifting me up, and birthday all in one set. This is a truly great stamp set. I love it. So anyway, that's my little plug for the stamp set. So for this card, you need a card base, and this is the same size as most card bases. It's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock that's been cut in half and then scored down the center at 4 1/4. So it's just your regular card base. Now you need another one, a second one, but this one you're going to make just slightly smaller. So what I did was I scored, or I cut it down just 1/4 of an inch, actually 1/8 of an inch on the top and bottom and the sides, so that it's a little bit smaller than the outside. And there's a cloud in there. So I want to show you how I cut this. So here's one with nothing in it. So we'll lay it flat. And what I did was I used a ruler and I cut, here's my little cheat sheet. So depending upon how much space you need, you can cut it bigger or smaller. This one actually has a smaller space in the center. So for your card, you're going to need 2 slits like this. And then inside those 2 slits, you need to cut 2 more slits. See? Now those sizes can be changed based on what you're going to spin. So for my balloon one, for example, I needed a bigger space in the middle. So these little dimensions here are 1/2 inch. And then I cut slits. So it's 1/2 inch up. And then I did 1.5 inches. And then I did that from both sides. And then in the middle, I just cut 2 slits. So there's not even a measurement for that. I just cut 2 slits. Like that. And then the length of those slits I cut in like this is 1.5 inches long. So it's 1/2 inch and then 1 inch. So this is like 1.5 inches this way, 1.5 inches long from both sides. And I folded it and cut them at the same time. So on this one, so then when you open it up, you are going to pop those 2 out like this, and then these 2 get recessed like that. And then you need something to slip down inside this little thing. And what I used was a skewer. So you can find skewers in the kitchen aisle at your grocery store sometimes for shish kebabs or fruit kebabs, or you can use little dowel rods from a store perhaps, and I had to cut them down to size. I did find that at Michael's or Hobby Lobby they do have even skinnier skewers, but I found them after I already purchased bamboo skewers. So anyway, you can find those, and they're skinnier and easier to cut, and you're going to thread it through here. So obviously this one would need to be cut down, and I already have some done right here. Now you don't want it to fall out, so you need some kind of a stopper on either end. Now what I did here was I just wrapped some matching granite gray cardstock, little tiny strip around, and glued it. So I started with the glue and wrapped it around and glued it, and I had all these ready for Stamp Camp so that they didn't have to do that and wait for these little skewers to dry. Another suggestion that I saw on Split Coast Stampers was to put a little button. If you have tiny little buttons, you can put a little button on either end. I didn't happen to have 24 of the same button. I have 12 people at camp, and it was a little too much. Or you can get a hot glue gun and make a little hot glue gun ball on either end, and it'll dry, and then you'll have these little balls on either end. I thought the paper strip matched the cardstock and worked just fine. Just something so that it doesn't slip through the hole that you created. So once you've got this base with a skewer of some kind, you can start to put it together, but you need to have the little mechanism, the string. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So taking a hole punch, you need to punch a hole towards the back and the outside edge, so the inside and the outside on the same panel, so not on this side at all. You're going to work on this side. So we're going to punch a little hole, and then we're going to punch another hole on this outside edge. Now something inside the little packets that I gave everyone were some designer series paper to kind of just get rid of the monotony of the granite gray. So I'm going to go ahead and put those down. You just don't want to cover your hole. So if you're going to put it where it would cover the hole, then glue it down first and then punch through both layers. This one is close enough to the edge where I can just glue it down. Now, if you visit my blog, Beth's Paper Cuts, I will have this little cheat sheet available, and you can print it out, and it'll be easier for you to make this card at home. It is a little time consuming, but it's so fun, and I think that it would be great for a child to get. They'll just be amazed at the spinning mechanism. They'll think it's really cool. And you don't make a million of them, just make it every once in a while. It'll be really fun. So you're going to take a little bit, I'm using baker's twine. You're going to cut yourself a length. So you're going to string it through the back. Let me grab my tape. I don't know if you've used these or seen me use these before, but they're dental flossers. One of my stamp campers, hi Lois, she showed me these little dental flossers and how they make threading a hole so much easier. See, it just goes right through there. So you're, unless you pull it right back out. Okay, second time's the charm. All right. So then you're going to tape it so that it doesn't come out. And then you're going to wrap it around your skewer or straw or whatever you're using. About 5 times. 1, 2, 3. 4. Alright, try not to overlap them. There we go. And then you're going to fish it through this hole that you created on this side. But before you tape it down, you're going to kind of pull it. You're going to open, you're going to make sure that you've got it at the right tightness. So you're going to kind of grasp it and open and close a few times. See if you've got it working. Mine is working, so I'm going to feel free to tape it down at that tautness. Is that a word? Yeah. And then play with it a little bit, see if it still works. Did I make it too tight? I think we're good. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and glue it inside your card. Now the trick here is you don't want to glue it overly much. You want to have it a little bit of give to it. Just make the opening and closing smoother. So I suggest only gluing on the 2 ends. If you go crazy with the glue, for some reason it just doesn't have the give that it needs to work. And this tear tape is strong enough to hold it all together. Oops. Don't do that. Don't put it down. You know, sometimes when I make these videos I try to go too fast and then I make mistakes. So I'm going to line that up and press it down. And press it down. Play with it again. It's still working. Yes. Okay. Now the outside you can just decorate any way you like. I have created these little scene with water, hot air balloons. I almost called them water balloons. And I'm using the new blueberry bushel ribbon. So I'm stamping on Pineapple Punch and Mango. What is the new mango? I don't have my new color names memorized yet. Mango Melody. And they are in the Designer Series paper, so I wanted to use those. I've already cut a couple out. I'm going to cut these out on the Big Shot, and I'll be right back. Okay, so on the inside I want my hot air balloons to fit right here. So what I did is I added a couple of glue dots directly to the skewer. And then I did the same thing on the back of the skewer. But in between, because that skewer does take up space, I added a couple of dimensionals. So like on either side. There we go. And then I thought that these clouds that I cut out could kind of hide the mechanism a little bit. And they don't have to even fold because they're going to just go with the card as it closes. So you don't even have to make sure that you put a crease in your cloud. You can just kind of cover that little mechanism right there. And I cut quite a few little clouds. So we'll put this one down here. Add a small one. I'm losing my clouds. Alright, I also wanted a little greeting, so I put sending smiles across the miles, and I'm going to add that right there. Okay, and then in the Best Route suite of products, along with the wonderful Designer Series paper, and there's also a stamp set, there's these cute little enamel shapes. Aren't they fun? They've got little mile marker type images, or these cute little stars, and so I thought they would be fun on a card. I think most people at Stamp Camp chose the mile markers, and I'm gonna then choose maybe a couple stars, just for some added fun. And maybe a little dot. There, those are fun. Okay, and now I'm just put on my top. I'm adding a lot more adhesive than I usually do just because this card has some bulk to it and a bend. And the bend kind of is not the friend of adhesive. And then I'm going to decorate the front with some more hot air balloons. And that's it. I would love to send you the instructions for this if you want. You could go to my blog and look for this little sheet here. I always send a hand stamped thank you card to people who order online. If I happen to notice that you have ordered the Lift Me Up bundle of products or Best Route or any of that stuff, I will see that, and I will probably, I have extra of these. I will send you maybe one of these fun little cards this month if you want. That would be fun. I made a lot of extras of this one because I thought we might have a lot of boo-boos at Stamp Camp since it's kind of a technical card, but we didn't have any, so I think I have about 10 extra cutouts of this card, and I'd love to send one to you. So please let me know if you'd like one. I'm placing an order of the Lift Me Up stamp set, and I'll be sure you get this as a thank you card. And also, don't forget that the paper is buy 3 get 1 free on the Designer Series paper packs. That's a great deal going on all through the month of July. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my card. Bye!